John, I'm wondering if these slow starts the last few games might be the cause of your anxiety you've been talking about.
Might be. We weren't desperate enough to start the game, and even if when we subbed the seniors, we just weren't desperate enough. Part of it may have been we were going to press, but we weren't going to be as aggressive. So that could come back to me. But I keep telling them, I'm not responsible for your effort, your energy, your fight. You are. Two things happened in the game. They stuck together. No one broke up. We had one play, Malik Monk on the far corner took a shot he didn't need to take. Every other shot was what we were looking for. That's how you got to play basketball in March. You got to fight and stick together. You can't fight and then everybody go do their own thing. You can't win a basketball game. And we played a team that, again, is playing out of their minds right now. That's an NCAA tournament team. I don't care what you say. They got the #1 schedule in the country. The #1 schedule in the country. They got us, and they got another game with Florida, and it'll be the #1 schedule. They were #2 before today. I would imagine it'll be #1 now. They shoot the ball. They run their stuff. We were trying to get into their clock by pressing, trap, and scrambling, just to make so they didn't have 30 seconds to move the ball around. And that's what, after watching the game, I said, we're not going to win this game unless we get into the clock a little bit. And I thought the guys performed.
Cal, do you know about Derek's pregame engagement?
Yeah.
Did you coach him up on that end?
No, but I got emotional. I looked at that and I'm like, it's like one of your sons is getting married. And I started getting teared up and I caught myself a little bit, but he told the team before he was doing it, they gave him like a standing O and hugged him in the locker room. And how about the 3 he made? On whatever we're going to call this, not his wedding day, his
Proposal day, engagement day.
his proposal. Do you have a proposal day? They have that? I never even heard of that. What? Engagement day, and he makes that 3. That was a big play, and that's after missing a couple and then missing free throws. But he made that 3, and that 3 was a big play. Dom was great today. Michael was good today. I went with Isaiah because I figured he'd fight, and he got that big stick back late. And I trust him taking the ball out to throw it to the right man to get a technical or timeout if he needs it.
John, how well is Malik getting it in terms of when the shot's not going, drive, get to the line?
Getting better. You're all seeing it, and he's maturing right before our eyes. He had one bad play where he took it down to the corner and did it and shot a foot kicker, which he never makes. Other than that, and again, that play is set up for him to try to do that and then throw it back if he doesn't have a shot and get it back anyway. All we're saying to him is be patient. If you don't have it right away, we're coming back at you.
What happened to Isaiah's hand? It looked like he
I
came
don't
back
know.
in
I didn't even ask him, to be honest. It was not his shooting hand, so I wasn't worried about it.
And was Fox 100% tonight?
Yeah, but he struggled. He just practiced yesterday for the first time in 5-6 days. But in the end, he did it. In the end, he played. He played awful up until then. He had 5 turnovers. We only had 11. He had 5 of them, and missed layups and got balls taken from. But in the end of the game, he fought and he stuck with his teammates, and he did it. He played well.
John, I don't know if you saw the play where Malik was diving for a loose ball on the other end, and it looked like he had to dive over a couple guys almost vertical. I mean, is that the kind of effort that you're talking about with him, that he's starting to?
Yeah, but we didn't start the game that way. I mean, if you're going to win in March, that's what you have to play like 40 minutes. What you saw out there in the second half. That's who you got to be, or you're not winning. And I told him that after. How about Dom and how he played? There was a big play in the second half where he dove on the floor and tipped it ahead, and we got the game back in hand. I mean, but let me say this. And how about Vandy never gave up? How about even in the end when you thought that 3 went, the game's over, okay, we won. Uh-oh, you miss a couple free throws, you give up a 3. Now all of a sudden it's not over, and they kept playing. And that's my hat's off to them and what they've been able to do, and how they're playing right now.
John, any comments on your technical foul? You kind of turned the game around after the.
That was the intent of it. I thought he got smashed in the face. That's why I did it. You know, you got to protect your guys. If they're offensive push-offs and they're, you know, you got to stand up for your guys at times. I thought he got hit in the head. That's why I said go look at it on the monitor.
Cal, you mentioned the bucket that Willis had that was big, but I think that might have been his only one.
Yeah.
He stuffed the stat sheet.
How about he had eight rebounds?
Is that kind of a sign of his growth too?
Yeah. It's, you know, I got to speak to each of the seniors by themselves before the game. I called them in the office here, and you know, it's just when I think back on how far Derek Willis has come, and you know, his comment to me is, "You helped me become a man." Dom and I sat there and smiled, and laughed, and talked about, you know, his times here, and you know, you just let him know you're part of this family, you're part of my family. We're always going to be here for you, and what you've done for this program, and what you've done for all of us, you know, is so appreciative. And I said, you know, you were two guys that this was your dream, your home state school to play here. And you know, I talked to Michael and I just said, you know, you're so much better. And as a junior college player, I said, how hard was the first year? He said, oh my gosh, coach. You think you're going to be able to walk right in. It's just not the same. And you know, now the way he's playing, and I even apologized after. I said, the way the game went, Michael, I just stuck with those guys because it wasn't about offense. It was going to be about fight. And he'll fight, but Dom, it has an advantage on that.
Cal, talk about the difference between you playing them back in Nashville and playing them today, and how much better or different they look.
I think both teams are better. They're better and we're better. They played us different. They played all 45 possessions of zone up there. They played all man here.
John, I asked Bryce about this being a bottom line business with the committee getting a bid. How much credit do you think a team ought to get for coming in here, this atmosphere, and playing you guys down to the second?
It matters, and let me tell you where it matters. It matters on their strength of schedule. When you chose to play the toughest schedule in the country, and you're in our league, and we've got, I'm guessing, 6 teams between 50, 48, 47, and 60. We got like 6 or 7 teams. And you're in the top half of that league, you deserve it. Now, they got to finish. They got Florida at home, another tough game. They got the tournament. They've got chances. But the committee all wants us to play good schedules where they played the best.
John, I'm just curious, is the emotion for you the same for having guys go through the program 4 years as it is to be in the green room at the NBA draft and all that?
Yeah, it is, and like I said, you know, my emotion in the office for these 3, and you know, especially the 2 that have been here 4 years. I just said to all of them, I hope you're taking as much as you've given us from here. That what you learned and what you're taking, the friendships, the commitments, the habits you've developed, that you're taking more than you've given us, because they've given us a ton.
John, again, before the game, did you kind of like the spontaneous way when the 3 seniors lined up, I think for Eric to take their picture, whoever, that everybody on the team just ran over there and jumped in? And I mean, do you like seeing things like that?
The guys were great prior to the game and even after. And you know, we got a good group of kids that are just so young. Teaching them to fight and be together for 40 minutes and be totally committed and connected and locked in for 40, it's just hard. It's hard, and what I've been doing is, if a guy is not locked in and he's the guy breaking down, you got to come out now. I don't care who you are. You can't be in there. And we had a couple of those again today, and it's just, you know, we got a couple, we got this week and we got next week, but that's it. Then it's okay, here's who we are.
Last one in the middle.
What did you see out of Bam Adebayo switching out on the guards, guarding on the perimeter?
That's what I said. He can guard 5 positions. He 8 for 10 from the free throw line. If I played him out, he could shoot more balls. I'm the one making him play next to the basket. You know, eats rebounds, physically fights. He's getting in great condition. He's still not where he needs to be, but he's getting better that way. And he guards 5 positions. I mean, who doesn't want a guy like that? I mean, he could step out and shoot threes and do it. We just, you know, I want to get him to where he's not missing 1-footers and not walking in the post. And you got to establish that and then start moving out. But proud of him.
All right, thanks everyone.